So now every single independent study of GMOs shows that GMOs are dangerous. They cause cancer, they cause disease, they cause tumors, they cause, accelerated aging. They speed up the aging process. Every independent study on GMOs shows that we should not be eating them, that they are unfit for human consumption, yet the FDA and your government allows this food to be sold when it's clearly killing people. Take a look.
Monsanto's own research shows that when rats were fed this BT corn, they had signs of toxicity in the liver and kidneys. When genetically modified soybeans were fed to rodents, we've seen changes in the testicles changing from pink to blue, changes in the sperm cells, changes in the uterus and ovaries, in the DNA functioning of the embryo offspring.
In 2001, a small California biotech company called Epicite patented a gene, which causes both men and women who eat it, in the form of any product, to produce antibodies to sperm. If the men eat the Epicite gene, they produce antibodies to their own sperm, rendering them irreversibly sterile. If women eat the Epicite gene, when they have intercourse, their bodies produce antibodies to the sperm that has been deposited, and they become infertile through the destruction of the sperm. Now, DuPont and Monsanto formed a joint venture, purchased the Epicite firm, and, quote, commercialized the Epicite gene. Do you want to know if the food that you're eating contains the Epicite gene? Sure you do. How about the food that your children are eating, or your grandchildren? Sure you do.
We've seen smaller babies, a death rate that's 5 times that compared to controls. Sterile babies, even babies with hair growing in their mouths. And this has been done by government scientists as well as independent scientists who are at the top of their field.
Pay close attention to what you're about to see. These rats have been fed with transgenic corn during their entire life cycle. The tumors they suffer from are enormous. The study that revealed the effect of the GMOs on the health of these rats has just been completed. It lasted for 2 years.
We spent over a year trying to obtain transgenic corn because no GMO manufacturers were willing to provide them. This is because Monsanto requires contracts to be signed stipulating that the seeds must not be used for testing. We wanted our study to be independent.
Every rat was dissected to identify the way each diet, GMO and Roundup on its own, had acted on the metabolism of each animal, focusing on the development rate of the tumors that only start to manifest themselves after the initial 3-month period.
Each step up represents a large tumor, which can measure 17 millimeters by 17 millimeters. 94% of them take effect in the mammary glands, which would equate to breast cancer in a woman. We are faced with renal tumors for the males. Some males also suffer from mammary tumors.
One could have thought that the main cause of death was coming from the pesticide added to the corn. But what the study highlighted, and this for the first time ever, is the fact that the transgenesis itself could have killed the rats. What this means is that just by interfering with the genome of the plant in order to modify it, we are faced with repercussions that no one could have anticipated. This is enough to make us reconsider all the scientific precepts that led to the creation of GMOs.
We realized that GMOs without any Roundup residue were responsible for an increase in the death rate of females and of some males. This is the GMO that is being eaten by the Americans, but also the GMO that has been approved for importation by European agencies, and that contaminates our food.
So, how do they allow them to put out these GMOs? How do they allow them to put out this food when it's clearly dangerous? And then they put these labels on the food saying that the food is good for you and the food is this, when the food is clearly not safe for human consumption. Then they make these commercials and, they use families and actors and cartoons to trick you into believing that this food is good and that it's safe. And you look at these commercials and you realize they spent millions of dollars on these commercials. So you thinking, well, okay, they're trying to sell us a good, healthy product. You don't understand when you go into the market that this food can cause cancer. It could kill you later on. So, when you die of cancer, the doctor just say, well, yeah, he died of cancer. They don't tell you that you died from, eating from chickens that's, pumped with all kinds of chemicals and drugs or whatever like that. They don't tell you this stuff. You have to spend thousands of dollars to get an independent autopsy done, to get a toxicology report to figure out exactly what killed you. So your family's going to be spending thousands. People don't got this kind of money to spend to figure out what happened. When a doctor say you just died of cancer, you say, you just figure it's something that happens in life. When you have millions of people with cancer, people dying of cancer, and it's your food that you eat that's causing the cancer. And the study has been done. It's right there, but don't nobody seem to care, what's going on. Meanwhile, they're harassing all these farmers, the FDA, kicking all these farmers out and destroying their food and destroying their crops, destroying natural food that's good for you, food that is safe for human consumption. They are destroying this food. Now, organic farmers, they grow foods that don't require any pesticides, any herbicides, or any chemical fertilizers. So organic farmers, they basically cover their plants, they rotate the crops, they use plant waste and insects that's beneficial to the soil, insects that basically keep away other insects that harm your crop. This is what they do. These people really take care of the food the way it's supposed to be. But the government is acting like, we haven't been growing, completely natural foods, for thousands of years and been eating it, and we still here today. Mankind still exists. And this is how, how we've been farming for thousands of years, eating natural foods with no kind of, pesticides or any kind of drugs or anything like that, pumped into the food. Nothing to make it, have a longer shelf life. But this is what they give us. Now, we all have this conspiracy theory that, I'm not going to call it a conspiracy theory, there's a lot of truth to it, as you can see, that our government basically wants to, kill off billions of people to make the population more easy to control. Now, what they have done with passing this law is they have effectively put a clock on, your lifespan, on the lifespan of humans. Now, once they control the entire world's food supply, that's game. Because you got to eat. You got to eat food. You got to eat these GMOs if this is all they're giving you. Once they eventually control everything, you won't have a choice. You either eat, or you starve to death. So now even when you go to the supermarket and you get, milk or you get food that says organic, you still have to be careful. You can't read the label and think that just because it says organic, that it's truly organic. Now, a lot of foods, a lot of things make it to the shelf and, it's not completely organic. It contains some kind of pesticides or some kind of chemical that, help it stay on the shelf longer, give it a longer shelf life, or they use some kind of chemical, at some point in the process of making this food, but they put a label that says organic and you trust it because, that's what the label says. Now, it's a lot of foods that's put out there that is unsafe for human consumption that's basically banned, in other countries, yet, they sell it to us here in America and we eat it and we drink it because we think it's safe. So now if you drink milk here in America, then, your milk contains, the bovine growth hormone. Now this bovine growth hormone is basically, they take this natural hormone that's in cows. And this hormone is basically, it occurs naturally when the cow is pumping milk. Now, what they do is they take this hormone and they modify it and they inject it into the cow at, different points of time. So basically, when a cow is pumping milk, this hormone is produced naturally. It's a natural hormone, but they extracted the hormone and they added some stuff to it and they actually just pump it in the cow so that it simulates the whole sensation of the cow pumping milk when it's not pumping milk. So what this does is it forces the cow to pump milk when it's not wanting to pump milk. So the cow is constantly, being over pumped of milk, constantly pumping milk. They do this to get more milk out the cow. but it's not healthy for the cow, and it causes, pus to come out sometimes with the milk, and that pus gets mixed up with your milk. And they don't separate the stuff. They add chemicals to it to mix it out, and you don't know none of this stuff. If you go to an organic milk farm, when you see them pumping the milk, you see how it comes out. I don't know if anybody ever went there. I went a long time ago when I was a kid and tasted the milk fresh from a cow, which we're not supposed to be drinking cow milk in the first place, but that's a different story. But it's cow milk. It's it's for cows, for calves. You're not supposed to be drinking calf milk, cow milk. This milk is produced when it comes out. It's supposed to go to a calf, and it's it's nutrients, it's stuff in that milk for this baby calf to grow up to be this big giant cow. So to give it to a human being is crazy. And then when you give it to us and it's not natural and you pump it with all kinds of chemicals, then stuff happens. And there's many other foods and drinks that you like to drink and things that you like to eat that's basically allowed here in America but are banned in other countries in Europe. Mountain Dew, any kind of citrus flavored drink is banned in a lot of countries. Sports drinks and drinks that contain flame retardants, and this is why they're banned, because they contain flame retardants. They contain BVO, which is basically brominated vegetable oil. It depresses the nervous system and could lead to rashes or fatigue, acne, other health issues, if you drink this stuff. So BVOs. Now, a lot of people, we look at this stuff, we don't know what the hell a BVO is. We don't know what brominated vegetable oil is. You never heard of it before. You just get a Mountain Dew, you drink it because it tastes good. You see in the commercial, you like the stuff. Mountain Dew used to be like my favorite soda, but when you drinking this stuff and you realize it's causing rashes, it's causing, your nervous system to slowly shut down. I mean, it's a drink. You would never think or fathom that you would go and buy this drink that they're selling to you, and it's really causing rashes and causing all these health issues. And we get sick, and we get headaches out of nowhere, and stuff happens to us, and we never connect the food, the small stuff that we drink, like a soda or a sports drink, a citrus drink, to these issues. So now you have like artificial food flavoring, dyes, stuff that's like in macaroni and cheese, and stuff that's in like flavored crackers or Jello. This stuff contains red number 40, yellow 5, 6, or blue number 2. They are known to cause behavior problems in children, cancer, and even birth defects. Now, this stuff is banned in Europe and Australia. I noticed when I went to Sweden that they didn't have, macaroni and cheese with a little powder package of cheese in it, except when I went to the American store. They actually have American stores in some countries in Europe, so you can get, those foods specifically from an American store, but they let you know, what this stuff contains, and they let you know it's not good for you, and it's only sold at their stores. But most of the other stores don't sell it, and usually those American stores, I know when I went in there, a lot of people don't even really go in to buy, that kind of stuff. People go in to get like candy and stuff like that, but the government over there don't mass produce this stuff. They import it. And of course, you can buy anything online at your own risk, but they don't sell it in their supermarkets. So now, another food like Rice Krispies and Tyson's Chicken, Ruffles, Lay's, Doritos, any of those foods that say fat-free or contain olein, which can cause diarrhea. They can affect the body's ability to absorb certain vitamins. Farm-raised salmon is banned in a lot of countries, the GMOs. Many countries look at this food and they see what's in it and they try to protect their people. There's no way in the world you can't have, 10%, 5% of the population dying from eating food. This is something that's going to get out. The people are going to be outraged, and it seems like, Americans, we don't care. We don't give a damn what's in the food. We don't care what they're putting in it. we got our fetishes. We like certain things. People, you got your snacks. We all got our little snacks that you keep in a drawer on the side of the bed, and we know what we like to eat at night. And we know stuff, we call it guilty pleasures, stuff that we like to eat that we know we ain't supposed to. But, you eat this stuff and you're not thinking it's going to cause cancer. You're not thinking this is the reason why you keep getting these little headaches. You're not thinking this is the reason why these rashes and, you scratching all the time because you're eating these certain foods. You think the food is safe because you bought it in the supermarket. And, in America, we can sue. You get sick, you can sue, and you don't think these people will put this stuff in the food, because if you get sick and you trace it back to them, you can sue them for millions of dollars. And a lot of people actually do, who when they do these studies. But we're not fathoming that it comes, the food comes with this kind of risk. And like I said, if you're not a chemist, if you're not a nutritionist, and you can't turn over a bag of chips and read all the stuff that's on there and understand exactly what the stuff is, then you're not going to know. It's just a bag of chips. You're just trying to, I'm trying to get a Dorito. I'm not trying to get cancer. Now, I can also tell you from experience that when you go to Europe, when you go to certain countries, you can literally taste the difference in food. I never forget the first time I tasted relish, overseas in Europe. The stuff tastes like real pickles. Like they really took a pickle, a fresh pickle, and chopped it up and made the relish. In America, when you eat relish, it's kind of, slimy and it's like sweet and it got like this gel to it. And it's like, I noticed that consistency of the relish here versus, when I was in Sweden or when I was in London. The relish is totally different. The relish in Sweden, when I ate it, it tastes exactly like pickles. And it's so much of a big difference that you notice it immediately. You notice the taste of food, like chicken and stuff like that over there immediately. Chickens are smaller over there. You don't got these big giant, breasts and stuff like that. Over in Europe, you got like, a normal sized chicken breast that's not, pumped up with all kinds of stuff, and when you eat it, it tastes fresh. The food tastes good. It's, you're getting a good quality product. You're not worried about all kinds of chemicals and stuff, because the people in Europe don't play. They will tear the place down if they find out that you're putting, all kinds of chemicals out there. So, we get confused in America because you turn on the news sometimes and the news is doing a report on, don't go to such and such store and buy this product because it contains salmonella. And the whole thing is, when a product is highly contaminated, they have to put out a news report, because one, that corporation has to save the ass of the other corporation. So if you know that you put out a whole, rack of contaminated yogurt, you can't have 65, 70, 100 people dying of, salmonella and stuff like that, on the spot, or that fast, because it's going to be a huge lawsuit for that corporation. So, the news put out that whole report to try to keep people from, eating that stuff, to basically save the corporation millions of dollars. And that's one of the reasons why they do it. And it's not really to, because they looking out for you or trying to help you out. It's to save the people millions of dollars. It's to save that corporation from going into bankruptcy, and from the people from basically burning down the damn supermarket once they found out that, not only could the yogurt have salmonella, but the chicken could as well, and a bunch of other products in the store is highly contaminated. When you go into these supermarkets, like I said, you have no clue what the stuff is, what they're selling. If you don't know, you expect the food to be a good quality product. Then these motherfuckers got a nerve to charge you so much money. You paying all this money for food and it's killing you. That's the crazy part. That's the part that, gets me upset. Food here is expensive when you want to get that good quality meat, or the meat you think is good quality. Little do you know, this stuff is pumped with all kinds of chemicals and stuff like that, and you paying an arm and a leg for it, thinking that it's good when it's not. So one corporation basically helps another at the expense of the consumer. So you got to eat. You got to go shop. You got to buy food. You eat this food. This food makes you sick. So now you leave from that corporation, you go to the medical field. So then you got to go see a doctor. You got to keep seeing doctors to run all these tests on you and tell you exactly what's wrong with you and what has happened to you. So that's another corporation that sends you to another corporation, which is the pharmaceutical corporation, to give you all kinds of drugs to combat, the stuff that the first corporation did to you.